I just finished rewatching Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times for the first time in years and years, and I think it's a very fun example of what your brain remembers versus what the actual reality of a movie is. When I thought about Modern Times, I just thought, oh yeah, this is the one where he's in the factory. I think it's the one where he's like roller skating around a department store. This is gonna be fun. And then face the reality of like, oh wait, no, this film is about a man struggling to live life in a modern society where if you're not a working part of a machine, you're basically alienated and have to fight to have a job and a roof over your head and food. Haha! Chaplin's tramp goes through quite a lot in this film. Some of it his own fault, some of it not. He has a breakdown at his job, which leads to him being fired. He ends up getting arrested because he's mistaken for the leader of a communist rally. He ends up in and out of jail quite a bit, mostly because in there he can have food and a bed, and that sounds nicer than outside. The other major character of the film is a young woman he meets along the way. When the film begins, her mother's already passed away, and after her father dies as well, she and her two younger sisters are taken in and separated to, I believe, go to an orphanage, but she takes off and runs and ends up homeless through the movie. After the two meet up and decide to stick together, it is mostly a journey of just trying to find work, and of course, the tramp being the tramp, usually manages to screw it up and somehow, or run into a crazy set of circumstances. It might sound insensitive for, this sort of story to be played around different crazy slapstick scenarios that Charlie Chaplin's famous for, but this is not new for Chaplin, and he does it very well. In films like this, City Lights, or my personal favorite, The Great Dictator, I feel like he does a really great job balancing out the sort of slapstick comedy with the more serious message to it. I think that he lets the comedy play out. It's fun, it's silly, it's kind of, I find, often whimsical, but also allows moments that are emotional, moments where the audience is supposed to really connect with what's happening, sit there. He lets them breathe. He lets you kind of live with them for a second before moving on to the next thing, which I think makes his stories far more memorable and far more interesting. This is also the first Chaplin film to have speaking lines, though very, very little, and I think used really well. The first one for most of the film really is the only one. It's just the boss of his factory barking orders at someone. That was the only words we actually hear. It's just a man on a screen yelling at someone to get back to work. At the end of the film, however, we do hear the tramp talk. Kind of. All these years of silence, we're finally going to see him open his mouth and speak, and he just kind of says nonsense, which I think is a hilarious kind of middle finger to everyone. He's supposed to sing a song, he forgets the words, and so he just says gibberish. No real words are said. Just silly little pantomime and him speaking nonsense. And there you go. That makes sense for a nonsensical character to just speak crazy. He does eventually speak in a later film. Like I said, go watch The Great Dictator. It is my favorite, but I think Modern Times is a really, really great movie and a great, I think, intro for someone who wants to get into Chaplin films or silent films in general as like a feature length when not one of his shorts.